Greetings everyone, my name is Napoleon Complex, I go by Ludendorf in the Southern forums, and today I'm playing against Nosy Rat in the Revenge on Hannibal series. So the idea here is that I have swapped my army from the classical division with my opponent, so I am playing against the army he used, and he is playing against me with my Hannibal and Africa list. Now, I consider this to be something of a mismatch, where I figured that the cheap Carthaginian medium infantry would easily get the better of the fragile Indian archers. Now, I've tried to solve that with a strategy where I dispense with the main weak point, which is the Indian archers. Instead, I have gone for two heavily weighted flanks, one on the left particularly to take advantage of this open ground, and I'm going to do something that I very rarely do, but which I think might work quite well against the medium-heavy Carthaginians. Although I will need to use my close fighters to protect against veterans. I am going to charge them with a corps of Indian elephants, with light chariots and cavalry going right around the flanks. I'm going to try to stretch them thin in the centre with this long line of cheap medium infantry and archers. The chariots will help to protect them against a central charge, and obviously the elephants will plan just to smash through the flanks, and the other units will hope to go around the flanks. So that's my strategy, and we'll see if it works. I'll be back once I set up my generals. So I've tried to use my generals efficiently here. This general here is covering a good number of units. However, he can also jump over from the elephants to the heavy chariots if need be. I think I'll place him in the centre right now. And more importantly, Nosy Rat can't see that either of these units are general capable. And so I could catch him out off guard with either manoeuvre. Because right now they're just sitting in the units of close fighters. That's not particularly formidable. On this flank, so to ensure that both of these lead elephants can have generals, I've placed my general here, but I placed it back on the light chariots, just so that, again, their potential is hidden. Same idea here again, Indian heavy chariots, only this time we only have one general left, and he is going on the Indian cavalry, but can be transferred to the elephants, and my commander-in-chief can actually jump to either one, because he can jump anywhere he's in range of. So that's the plan. This line holds, and these go through the center, and these go through the flanks. These go through and around the flanks. Let's see what Nosy Rat has in store for us on the Carthaginian side. Not a formation. Really? Huh. I wasn't expecting triplex aces. I think this is the first time, it's the first time I've seen an experienced player deploy in the triplex aces. Triplex aces being the three lines that the Romans deployed in the checkerboard formation. Interesting, he's waiting that flank. This is quite an expensive army. He's not gone mass army, which is what I expected him to do. Okay, lots of dangerous skirmishers. I need to use the cavalry to chase them away because they'll decimate the elephants. And he's got cavalry coming up as well. Okay, well, here's a problem for the elephants. We've got those veteran African spearmen. I wonder if I should change my approach based on this. Because suddenly this strategy is... I made this strategy expecting a mass army. But if he's not going to use a mass army, if he's going to use his veterans out on the flanks, and let me take a look. What are the casualty figures here? Friendly. The elephants, remember, will be dropping my troop count a lot. Take a peek out over the parapet. I knew it. And there's something behind this mountain as well. I stake my life on that. And those are Well, those African spearmen on their own shouldn't be too problematic. But it's a long way for my elephants to ride, for my elephants to march. We have the Phoenician stale foot here. There's no reason yet why the strategy couldn't work. But is it the best strategy I can use? I still think so, because this bowline has a better chance of standing up to this kind of formation, though the cavalry will be problematic. Okay, let's get moving. So I'm just moving my elephants up because they are obviously going to be the shock components of my army. I need my cavalry to come forward as quickly as possible to support against the skirmishers. Presence of my elephants will disturb them a little bit, but that's okay. I think I'll send forward my troops to take this hill, as the height advantage will be useful. Do I want to hang back a bit here? Or even, let's see. Really, we didn't discover anything by doing that. Must have discovered it when these units went up onto the hill. So yeah, more of the same. I'm gonna be honest, this formation doesn't strike me as undefeatable. But I've also learned never to underestimate Nosy Rat in a game, so we'll see what this leads to. See, ideally I'd like the chariots on the high ground here, where they're even more difficult to challenge. So I think actually I will change here. Just moving into a defensible position for the moment. That doesn't mean that I'm planning to defend this line, but it does mean that I have a strong base from which to advance from. If I sound a little bit down, I'm coming down from a defeat at Lechfeld, the historical Battle of Lechfeld, which I feel I performed particularly, not to my usual standard, put it that way. So I'm feeling a little bit blue about that, I think. Yeah, let the infantry through first, because they've got they will have the hardest time keeping up. The cavalry can always catch up. Usually, unless they're really, really behind schedule, the cavalry will be able to catch up. The mountain's going to get in our way if he's planning to just sit there, though there are hills that I can also use to my advantage. I would rather defend today, but I can attack if I want to. So, but nothing I see right now scares me. The veteran African spearmen are a concern, and I may want to lock them down my Indian close fighters if I can. So the plan was always to go in on the diagonals from the flank, so hopefully I can match up these close fighters with the veteran African spearmen at some point. Next turn. Okay. Sorry for the lack of commentary, I was kind of focusing on what Nosy Rat was doing. Hmm. So, the massive danger to my elephants right now is those skirmishers. And I also have trouble approaching from the other side. I need to fall back and rearrange my line a little bit. Because I want my close order foot to deal with those African spearmen. I do not want my elephants charging straight onto their points. And of course I would like to drive off these light javelin horse if at all possible. Not let them behind my lines. So I think I'll close off. You can probably make it to this rough ground, but I shouldn't be able to make it any farther. Although one unit might get around the back. Let's see. So of course, Nosy Rat can see the dangers. He's not just going to let me do this double envelopment, which I'm obviously planning. He's going to get as much in my way as possible. Just going to pull the elephants back for now. Because I'm afraid of this. Next turn. Alright, he's riding right around the back. So he's being smart here because, of course, I want to use my cavalry to block in his veteran African spears. If I send too little cavalry, then the skirmishers will probably win. And if I so if I split my forces, then I might have enough resources here, but the skirmishers will probably win that belt then, so I'll be sacrificing my cavalry. I send all of my cavalry off to chase off the skirmishers, then my elephants will be fully vulnerable to the veteran African spears. And what else? Well, if I wait, then I'm dealing with these people here. And of course he could come after me. So we'll inch forward here, I think. Well, let's see. The thing is, I'm not quite in position yet. That's alright, I can close up there. But okay, let's see. So I guess this elephant goes this way. Yeah, okay, I'll bring the cavalry up to block this. Well, probably best that the Indian close fighters take the javelin swarm than my Indian cavalry. And can they get into the corner from here? Yeah, okay, because that could actually be a problem. Darn it, wish I hadn't moved my general now. And of course, we've got the elephants coming up. This cavalry here in the centre is really more of a distraction, though his noble cavalry could prove a difficulty. Hopefully my elephants will offer some support. And try not to keep try not to put your cavalry in front of your elephants, because then the cavalry can be engaged while they're slightly disordered, and then the noble cavalry won't suffer any disadvantage at all. Now, I'm not really sure if this benefited me at all. I'll probably pull back a little bit. And here, push forward, link towards the hill. And actually, I think we could do with a visit from the Pachyderm patrol here. After all, I am actually looking to get these guys into that flank. I'm not planning to flank with these units because they're not suited to that. I'm instead planning to actually hit the front of his line with them, and it's these cavalry who are going to be flanking. So I can see that he is rearing up for a challenge to my horse. So I think I'll actually come out and attack his skirmishers and start a fight with them. So these guys are going to get in the way of the veteran African spearmen, and then the elephants will go after everything else. Because even these veteran Italian foot are going to struggle with the elephants. Okay. So everything's forming up over here, we're advancing here, things are okay. Next turn. The towns get me every time. Every time I forget that there's something in the towns. This is the thing, my elephants have to hit the right targets. Those warbands are ideal targets. And the cavalry are coming to investigate. But I think I'm actually pretty well set up for a charge now. Right. So all of this can slide out, though the Phoenician self-foot are... I definitely want to hit these two warbands with my elephants. That's for sure. Look what's hiding behind the warbands. Veteran African spearmen, so my elephants will only penetrate so far, and then they have got these veterans to deal with. Right, luckily I have a cure for that. Let's start to bring down the Phoenician style foot who are guarding the way to his army. Good. Let's see. Italian foot are better targets, but they're also generaled up. I'd rather go after the exposed units right now. He's kind of drawn me a little too far forward there. Because these guys are fine, they've got the hell. But we're vulnerable here. I may have misstepped, and trust me, he'll punish any mistake I make. I'll have to withdraw them. This is a temporary position. And then send in the Indian heavy chariots to help. Right around. Get right around the back. Go away. Oh. Rats. I thought they'd run straight off the side of the map. I didn't think they'd run back at that angle. And now they're going to get peppered and... I've been... oh goodness, have I misplaced my cavalry? Swing these units out to help. And borrow the general. Because these luckless fellows are going to have to be the ones who engage the veteran African spearmen. There's no one else available. We're going to get hit by the javelins. Because he can cross to here. If he's within command range, he'll be able to hit here. If I go... that one unit of light javelinmen has thrown everything out of balance. It's forestalled me for this turn. Because I can't deal with those. A 24 unit of light javelin has held up an entire column of elephants. Well, we'll get as close as we can. Can't move there either because he can turn. Let's see. I threw that away. Well, it's worth my time to hold up 2 units of light javelin horse with 1 unit of Indian cavalry. And I think on this side of the battlefield our advance may have more luck. Although I've got to watch out for that unit of noble cavalry. And also, what's in the forest here? What is in the forest? Because if it's an infantry unit, it can advance to here and obstruct the elephants. The difficulties of using elephants, if anything goes wrong, there's a problem. We're just going to have to spend a bit more time setting up. It's annoying and it's making me impatient, but I'm just going to have to wait. At least this is putting some pressure on him. He can start to move across to challenge the elephant, so he moves his troops out. I need to keep my... because these archers are protected by the elephants now. And the chariots. So I need to make sure that these veteran Africans... See, if he moves forward a tile, then that unit of veteran African spearmen could potentially start moving out, start troubling the other elephants. I need to make sure that I can Let's see, that unit can move to here, and that unit could engage there. But okay, move them like this, and that way they can slide out to the side if they need to. So annoyed at myself for this. And I don't know what's in that forest, so I can't be reckless. Next turn. This is going to hurt. Oh, he's going after that unit. Oh, and he's just retreating here. Interesting. I figured he'd take the opportunity to maul my charioteers. Right. So in our last battle, my veteran Italian foot did a pretty good job of standing up to his charges. Right, that's what I wanted to see. And he's wasted no time exploiting this situation. So my centre is very vulnerable right now. He's moving away from the elephants. Although that's not great for them. But I think warbands are actually sturdier against elephants than you'd expect. Though if I can get them going downhill. Right. Well, we have the definite advantage there because the elephants will still have a 31% advantage, but it is still quite dangerous. The thing is, my Indian close quarters fighters will not be able to deal with, and it means I've lost my general from them, which means that these Indian close fighters are going to have a devil of a job getting into melee combat with these veteran African spearmen and actually staying there. But it does mean I get to choose my engagements. And of course I am going to go in for an engagement against their... Now that's a thought. I could just double down against the warband. If I really wanted to be mean, I could also block in my heavy cavalry. But then I'd have to sacrifice several arch units. I need to think about this more carefully than that. Those veteran African spearmen are actually quite well suited to charging these Indian heavy chariots and forcing them back, and that would let that warband hit me in the flank. I think I might need the extra pressure on those. Then what am I going to put against my... What am I going to devote to the attack here? Well, one thing's obvious. I need to move up here. I would like to engage here so I can get right around the flanks. Don't know if that's going to be possible or not right now. Right. Let's move into position to engage his cavalry. I know we're going to be harassed by a skirmish, so I don't have any other choice. I need to attack here. This is the more important unit. This one's getting the general's bodyguard. Because even though I can't get the flank attack, I want to make sure he can't block my flank attack. And also this unit is more vulnerable to the missiles. I also have my own chariots still supporting against his... But I do have the problem of his javelin men attacking my elephants, don't I? I can't attack here. If these Indian close fighters bounce off against the veteran African spearmen, then my elephants will be in trouble. Although I do have his he'll just, well, let's say, I think actually this is the smart thing to do. It's a little bit of a risk, but engaging early like this. But if they do bounce back, then I can set up a flank attack here and keep these veteran African spearmen in check. It's not a particularly ideal situation. I'm taking a bit of a risk here. Because right now the situation is good. I have several lines of attack on his back line. But if this goes belly up, then I will go from having a quite substantial positional advantage on this flank to only having a marginal positional advantage on this flank. They are intimidated because these warbands are within charge range. And trust me, that's going to be ugly. He's also avoided the worst of my fire. Let's see. Who am I in a good position to shoot up? This unit's not a bad target. And that will force him to narrow his line. These units have to pull back. We got lucky. Good. Okay. That's a hole in his line. That's something he has to protect now. He can still do it, but it weakens his position. His javelinmen are still keeping me in check here. Ah, hell. I know what he can do. If he moves here, he can pin in my chariots and then move up. Blast it. Okay, well, to avoid... Well, now I know I definitely need to fall back here. Why was that not... Oh, because they are unmaneuverable. They can't turn on that axis anyway. Right, what we're going to do is we're going to fall back and we're going to bombard that warband. Why did they... Don't like shooting on a half arc of fire, but it's going to have to happen here. That's amazing luck. Okay. Right. So lucky escape from here. What am I going to do over here? Am I going to go for this attack or am I not? Let's see. I'm considering his moves. So that cavalry unit could engage here, but then the Indian cavalry are on the way. I suppose you can move this. What I could do is you can move this unit up to block their movement, and then engage this unit. The thing is, I obviously want to try and set up a flank attack against these veteran African spearmen. Or set up a flank attack against this line somewhere. The most logical unit to do that with is the elephant, so I position my units here. Fire off a volley, and then turn. I can't anyway. It's going to take me a few turns to get into position. And even then he can block it, so we may as well take the long route anyway. Much as that pains me to do. And I need to move here to block any... Hold on a second. The danger is a flank attack to these elephants. Because what he could do is he could engage here, move these veteran Italian foot to block in this square here, and then he could move these units towards the flanks. That's probably why he's moving them. So I do need to ensure that this square is occupied. And if he engages here, then he's left a hole that my elephants can follow up through. And these veterans Italian foot against elephants on their own will struggle a little bit. And now I'm going to get hit by the javelins after all. There's so much to focus on. So yeah, this could be going better. Maybe I'm being a little too hesitant. So the idea is still to go right around this formation. But whether or not my troops can hold on long enough to deal with these veteran African spearmen, a lot depends on the impacts that the elephants get. Okay, next turn. Okay, that was fortunate. Oh, he's pinned them in. Alright. He's got past that trap. Yes, the elephants haven't quite been the breakthrough force I was hoping for. I mean, they should win over time, but their shock impact has been disappointing. Of course, it was pretty disappointing for Nosy in his game against my Carthaginian, me when I was playing the Carthaginians in the league. So, I'm definitely facing the same challenges. And he can now block that because he's managed to maneuver his troops in such a way that he can prevent me from flanking. Which means a lot of my troops are now in trouble. Okay, I can deal with that. In fact, that might have been a mistake on his part. None of this is good. That's good though. That's a disruption in his warband. They're going down. I need to break through. Oh goodness, even here, it's an even heat with the veterans. Okay, that's a lucky impact. Will it be the same for this unit here? Yeah, I was luckier in my game. The veterans held firm against all of the elephant charges. Oh goody. Nothing could possibly go wrong here. Okay, I think what I'm going to have to go for here is good old-fashioned brute force. It's not quite lined up though, because this unit will break and then hit the sides of the veteran African spearman before I can engage safely. He's still in a lot of trouble here, because he can't stop this chariot attack. Well, he can, kind of, because the Venetian style foot can charge out and then engage the chariots and drive them away. So if I can't flank here... Well, I'm winning here thanks to having the general, so that's okay. If I can't get the flank attack here, then maybe I can get it somewhere else. Let's keep riding around. If you can't break through somewhere, try and break through. Because that's what he managed to do to me in my last game. He managed to get a unit of cavalry free around the back. Maybe I can do the same. God, that's a horrible shock impact. So actually, now that I've engaged him like this here, maybe, okay, let's see. Ideally, I'd like to now use this cavalry to get a flank attack or something. Maybe a 2 on... No, that shock impact will kill us. But the Phoenician style foots won't do so well, will they? Okay, this could actually work. We can't back up there, but we will be in a moment. We will be able to in a moment, because I'm about to free these guys. Let's see. I'm running out of options of what to do for these guys. They're locked in place. What I could possibly try and gamble on is the warband charging here, hitting these Indian archers, and then the Indian archers. So what I think I'll do is I'll fire at this unit, and there's going to be some zone of control trickery here. That now, okay. Haven't quite got the right angle. Okay, just turn. So whichever unit that warband charges, if it forces... Oh wait, but that won't work out. Because of the change of the... I just remember there's been a change in the fallback logic. It takes 2 attempts now. Okay, so this has kind of been a mistake. Blast. Because the idea is that the warband would charge, force a unit back, and then it would be in trouble from a flank attack, but you can't do that anymore. It has been effectively patched out of the game. And of course we're going to lose this hard, because there's a veteran African spearman engaged with less than elite troops. Well, in that case it's still worth going for the disruption here. As we are going to get hit there next. Well, let's see, attack here. And that's them now in a disadvantageous fight. I can lock in the Spanish Sutari, and if they attack my cavalry, they're likely to end up fighting my elephants, which will be a disadvantageous fight for them. Use that opportunity to threaten the well, all he can do is sit. He could just decide to sit there, but If he decides to sit there, then I can either go after these vulnerable Phoenician stealth-boats or get a 2-to-1 advantage against his Phoenician stealth-boats in the plains. Though it will mean that those Spanish Satari could end up behind my lines. I need to be careful of that, especially with his light javelin horse hunting around. So many ums and ahs, but it's a tricky one so far. This has been quite a complicated game. If I charge this unit, if we can hold in melee for one turn, I think I can get the flank in him next turn. But only if I'm quick about it. Let's see. Have they chosen to ride round the other way? Ah, but if we do this... No, because then I won't quite sitting on his flank. See if I ride like this. Yes, I can. Hello. No, that could actually work. Right, let's think about this very carefully because we've got these Phoenician stuff and they will be around the flanks of either. Because the idea is to attack here and then use this unit to cover the flanks of the African spearmen. I don't think that's actually the best way to go about. And then I can use the elephant to cover the square here. That'll work. Okay, so right, that will mean that the elephant is... No, the elephant will be going downhill as well. Perfect. That's what I'll do. Or, even better, I could use this unit like a normal person and... Or even better, I could use this unit like a normal person and cover the line. Of course they lose an impact. Well, that pretty much evens up the bad luck that Nosy Rat had over on the other flank. Thing is, I think they can still jump over to here and block the flank attack. Skirmishers getting in the way again, doing what they're very good at, being as infuriating as possible. But I still have to try this. I'm taking a risk with that Indian cavalry though. I kinda have to now though, I'm committed. Okay, good. That was perfect. Now we just have to hope that the Indian cavalry are willing to stand against the noble cav. I'll use this light javelin horse. Yeah, this hasn't worked out too well. This has not worked out at all actually, because that unit will probably break. Just bad luck and impact. And if they fragment, then he can charge with these African spearmen. He might end up disrupting the Indian close fighters. If he does that, the Indian close fighters here can still engage because they'll be facing, but if they lose again, then we're screwed on this flank. And he's probably just... I think he can just engage with these units anyway. This was a bad idea. I failed to take into account all the different elements in the battlefield. So that's just going to get locked down next turn. At least it forces him to use his light cav. I think I can still block a flank attack with my elephant, but my position's a lot more vulnerable now. Again, don't take any risk you don't have to. I was winning elsewhere on the battlefield that I didn't have to mount this attack. And it's just gone wrong in exactly the wrong ways. I'm still going to commit to this, because I think I can use my elephants to cover these two units in some way. But we're in danger now. It maybe wasn't a risk I had to take. Let's see. I can't do anything about this really unless I want to charge my archers, in which case I'll probably just bounce back. I could block them in, I suppose, and that would allow my chariots to fall back. But the whole point of the chariots was to protect the leg infantry. Okay, what I can do is I can try and go for a disruption on the Sutari. Okay, that's a huge help. So now he's got this to worry about because those Spanish Sutari are not going to hold. Yeah, that chariot unit's going down, and now this is all going to fall apart. So we're winning tentatively on the left. The centre's kind of a wash so far, with units on both sides collapsing, and the situation's gone wrong for me on the right, going slowly wrong for me on the right, thanks to these units, these idiots here, who may lose the battle for us. Okay, next turn. Okay. But at least the chariots did something useful when they ran away. My elephants need to hurry up. Well, that's something at least. Uh-oh. So he's taken an early lead against me. Ah. Got them out of the way. So it looks like I'm suffering a similar fate to Nosy Rat's army and Indian army in the tournament. My centre's just falling apart under the pressure. He's going to get a disruption here eventually, the way he keeps attacking my chariots. Oh, he pinned them in. Now that might not have been the best decision because those units now can't act as a block. On the other, yeah. He might be in a bit of a difficult position there now. But my elephants need to hurry up because they're going to get flanked soon. That'll help. That will help. Not good enough. Those elephants are going to get flanked now. We're getting the upper hand here. Right, I only have one good move to make with these, and that's to block the flank attack, and unfortunately stood his ground. Which means that both of my elephants here are now in trouble. These units are under enormous pressure to break through, otherwise they are going to get flanked. These cavalry are overmatched again. My entire left is in trouble now. Nothing quite like a goofy early in the morning plan to try to gain the upper hand. That actually worked. As in, I can't believe that actually worked. Goody, who do I want to get killed by first? Okay. Try to break these veterans. Excellent. If they just pursued a little farther. And wow, he's got a general in charge of them now, so that's toughened them up. Fire volley. So we may as well soften these guys. And send in the elephants here. Ugh. So unless we can break through here quickly. Nope. Nope, that's as far as my as I could push that, and unless these Indian close fighters spawn a miracle. Nope. And I have nothing to block that. And we need to hope these war bands pursue. Wait, I could still block this. Oh, this is getting tense. So I managed to block his flank. Oh no. Oh, I should have. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, didn't. I should have engaged with the Indian archers. If I'd flanked them, that would have been fine. Last chance that a flank attack doesn't go through. Oh dear. That was so close. If I just thought a little bit harder about it, I might have managed to save the situation there. Let's see. This situation is looking bright at least. Let's try and go for a disrupt. A fragmentation rather. I really would like the fragmentation, to be honest, but if I can't have that, I'll take the charge, and we did manage to fragment them this time. And that's another fragmentation, but they'll fall back now, and now they're safe. It's a shame. It's a shame this isn't an infantry unit, because I could engage here. As it is, I'll take a small risk and get them into combat, because the more we can get a move on here, the better. And that could give me the resources I need to block a flank attack here. So I think this is swinging my way. Let's just get these melees over and done with, because obviously nasty surprises abound. Yeah, well, really? We lost down from 56 to 77. Just due to casualties. Well, you can imagine how bad it'll be once we disrupt. Okay. And I can't do anything about the skirmishers harassing my chariots. I can't even stop them from flanking these archers, which will obstruct my Indian archers again. This is a disastrous decision. It's one of those situations where you either have to go in, all in, or fall short, and I fell short. Next turn. Not before I maneuver my cavalry and lock them in, because that elephant is very likely to turn its flank to attack the Phoenician stealth foot. I do not want those Phoenician stealth foot to be able to flank my elephant. That was a very narrowly averted disaster. That's really bad. This is all going to go. Yep, the elephants let me down after all. Well, I let myself down by not getting this attack in. That's a disaster in the making. So this has been completely reversed now, and the elephants are all going to fall. I'm now on I'm now on a strict time limit on this flank. But I'm still winning overall. I just need to hurry up. Now this is going to go as well. I'm in for a rough couple of turns. Unless my cavalry can break through very quickly. They break through very quickly. Okay, we need that flank attack. Even then, I'm not sure what's going to save these elephants. That's what's going to save these elephants, the Indian close fighters. He can block in his cavalry though. He's still going to get me. I can force him to do that, but he's still going to get me here. So that was smart. That pretty much forces me to engage his... Oh, it's me who's 18% down. They just ran straight into a flank attack, didn't they? Well done, boys. Making me proud there. I think they might still be able to disengage, but with this sideways threat, I don't know. And I can't attack across the zone of control. He's done it. He's closed me off. And I can't even get a flank attack at this angle. Well done. I am now... And it's good, just good old defensive work. Good use of generals. Good appropriate fallbacks. That's how you win this kind of situation. Okay, that forces me to try to engage here to occupy these guys. His infantry occupy me. And that's a really unsatisfied target. They disrupted, that's good. I can attack those cavalry to try and get past the blockage. And maybe circle round to these infantry here, who are the ones I really want to get my teeth into. Give the general to my elephant unit here. Just hoping for a disruption. Yeah, get our elephants past this blockage. And that was the perfect place to end up. And now this is going to be a thing. Ah, he didn't engage here. Yeah, they're blocked. They can't escape now. and he's turned them away, so I can't engage his retreating troops. Nosy Rat is very, very good at zone of control and knowing how to use his units to block in. Knowing how to use his units effectively to block attacks. It's actually where I learned a lot of the tricks with massed archers. So I can't block that. If I move here, and I'll just move to give an example, he'll then move his javelin to here and charge in with the light javelin horse. It'll cost him the light javelin horse, but he'll win the overall engagement. This is worth observing. This is very, very good play from Nosy Rat to keep my army under control while he moves. I can try once again to break through here. Maybe we can get the disruption. Nothing. Those Spanish Chitauri are not giving an inch. Right, focus. What else can we do? I could try and go in. I could try and threaten the flanks of these Italian foot. That could work. Let's see. And if I can get disruption on them as well, that'll be even more dangerous. I've got these guys to worry about though. And there's a risk I'll lose an impact there, and I'm winning this melee anyway. I could try and win it faster, given what's happening here. If I can't take them out this turn, I can at least threaten that flank. Make it clear that he risks losing the units if he engages. But his use of light javelins there means that I can't actually move in to engage. And also these light javelin horses are now amongst my Indian archers, which means my Indian archers are now in a lot of trouble. Honestly, even if I manage to break this fragmented unit, and considering that I have cavalry behind these troops here, that's probably not the most urgent thing I should be working on. These units would still block this flank attack here, so this isn't going to speed up by me doing anything here. We are going to loot. Why can't? Oh, okay, I see why we can't do that. Well, in that case, we may as well shoot a volley into... Ah, yeah. Well, that at least... I'm trying to work out whether I should go for the disruption of this unit here to try and weaken them over here, or if I should just move over here. They would turn anyway, but shoot here. Try and disrupt this Italian foot, because we actually have a good chance of defeating this unit of Italian foot. They are in a bit of a predicament now. We failed to even inflict a cohesion test. Maybe another half volley. There we go. That worked. And now we're kind of starting to threaten these Western African spearmen as well, which might, and all of this might force those Phoenician stuff to get out of the way. I wish they'd broken this turn actually, because that would have allowed me to change their phasing. Let's see. It's better than getting shot to death by light troops. What I can do is move here, and if by some miracle these elephants actually hold, then I will get a flank attack here. And it also leaves a few more units around this area, but to give Nosy Rat problems. But it's not. Well, it's no. I'm being over pessimistic. It's looking okay. It's not looking. It's not looking like certain victory here. But I do have options in there. Both armies now have a chance to win this. It depends how the next couple of rounds go. But suffering 2 flank attacks from my elephants is nasty. Hopefully we'll break through here soon. If only these Satari hadn't been so stubborn. But I was lucky to get it. I was lucky to get any of this in the first place. This is why I don't. This is something to talk about. This is why I don't deploy elephants against the enemy front line. You're kind of asking for situations like this to develop, because if the infantry can just hold on long enough to rally and get around their sides, they're very vulnerable. And of course, combining that with the weak Indian centre, this was always a possibility. Next turn. He managed to hold just long enough for them to, and my men made a bad decision there. Huh. Bye, elephants. Yep. And now my whole line is going to take a walloping. That was very lucky. There's no reason to expect that those Indian close fighters would hold on. And now I'm coming under. Uh-oh. He finally got to my elephants, because they were hanging around the back lines and I didn't do anything with them, or I couldn't do anything with them safely. And the pursuit might screw me up. Oh, oh goody, 2 war bands. He's managed to come in for the attack on my elephants, and look at that positioning, perfect positioning to cause a cohesion test. And they let me down. Even with a general, the elephants let me down. And my Indian close fighters panic. You see, this is why I was so afraid of Nosy Rat in the tournament. It's this ability to make use of all of the different parts of the army to control the battlefield and get critical attacks in it. He's starting to come apart here though, so we'll see what happens. I'll get the flank attack against these Phoenician style foot, even if it's not as effective as it would have been. So this is going to be a very close fight, I think. Still nothing from this melee. And again, that's not all luck. He's placed his generals carefully. We hold on again, but thankfully our troops are proving heroic even without a general. Let's see. With my elephants disabled like this, they're really just a lumbering target. I'll try and protect them as they at least draw part of his army away from the battlefield. But of course now that means I had to release the veterans. And you don't want to release Hannibal's veterans. Let's see. Right, I might be able to close this down now. Can these units turn? Yes, they can. So with a bit of luck I'll be flanking someone today. Oh, but they might disrupt the elephants. Elephants being flighty creatures at the best of times, they managed to hold. Okay, I think his left may be going down now. Oh, of course, the cavalry. Okay, right. More setbacks. These archer units are both low in arrows, so they're unlikely to do much. Turn this around for a moment. Let's help the situation. Wait a second, let me experiment with something. No, that makes things worse because I feel threatened by the units, by the enemy units. And these light cavalry are sitting right in their tail. Right. Ugly. Okay, and now... hopefully there'll be enough to win on their own, because those light javelin horse will probably attack next turn. I think... well, do I want to go in for this attack here despite the impact loss? Because I could just plunge straight into these units here. I think I'll go for this. We hold firm. My general did his job. And now we'll go in for the flank attack, and I'm hoping to just open all of this up, blow it apart. But again, those generals and the cohesion test they give, the cohesion advantage they give. And my units are now starting to lose against his general. And my cavalry are starting to lose the fight. I haven't been able to make good enough use of the Indians' numbers and the flank attacks they offer. Okay, I'm going to try for a fragmentation here. Nope. Wasn't good enough. At least I can hopefully still draw his armies away. I couldn't even get the cohesion test. Once they're out of arrows, these units are useless. And that cavalry will be able to close on my elephants. Blast. Alright, next turn. And I'm just realising I'm an idiot, because these Phoenician stealthboats are blocking the elephants anyway. I should have turned to attack. So now he can turn, and this is a disaster. God, at this point I might even want to turn away and try to threaten this area here, because even if these elephants get flanked, they'll then have an advantage against the Phoenician stealth foot. And I can hopefully chase off the noble cavalry and at least get a flank attack somewhere. I need to flank somewhere, or I'm going to lose this hard. Next turn. Yeah. I'm under the impression that Nosy Rat isn't much of a fan of warbands, so he's surprised that they are actually proving effective. Now, I am, of course, not surprised. I'm a big fan of warbands. So, their success is not a surprise to me at all. He's really trying. But now with that many archers, yeah, it added up. Yep. But successful warbands do not surprise me in the slightest. And I think he's got this, if I can't break something, because look how close my army is to breaking. He kind of blocked in his own units, which wasn't very, which was a bit problematic. Oh, well, he has. Looks like he can't quite get there. He didn't take the flanks against my elephant, but that's probably quite a good idea. If you can delay that engagement for a while, that's quite smart. Disruption. He had a chance to win, almost win the battle there. If that unit of Indian close fighters had gone down. But I've got the fragmentation there, that's keeping me in the fight. Lightfoot causing trouble as always. Surely that unit has to go down soon. They fought so hard this battle. Oh goodness, Indian archers getting flanked by veteran African spearmen. I don't really think you need a flank attack to make those deadly. But no, my army's falling to pieces here. If I can get a couple of routes on left and right, I can maybe keep myself in the match. And of course they picked this moment to fight like lions. Oh, maybe not. Thanks to a very surprising victory by my troops there. Let's see, take that first because it's a greater chance of success. Because I need to cause an auto break here. There we go. Let's see what effect that has on the battle. Oh, this could be quite impressive. Right, okay, and then right. Oh. Well, unfortunately, my cavalry kind of need to sell their lives to save my elephants. I'm in more danger than it looks like here because those light javelin horse can possibly engage my Indian archers, stay in melee, and then he can flank my troops. What are the engagement chances if I just charge in? It is extremely dangerous for me to engage here because they might bounce back, but on the other hand, it's also dangerous for me to leave the light javelin horse to my back. I'd rather be proactive and take the melee. Though honestly at this stage it feels a little bit arbitrary now. I almost equalised the score, but remember, he's going to get the benefits of... That's not going to stop me. Now what do I want to hit? This is an important choice. Because these units have the least chance of going down, but these units are in the most trouble. So I think I'm going to go for help the unit that's in the most trouble. And also that allows my cavalry to bounce back, and now I've got a threat to his flank. Though even with that attack he's managed to flank my javelins. And my elephants are going to go. I might as well just leave them there, because if they break with the warband close, then that's not good news. Let me think about this. No, my chariots are just evade through here. I'm trying to think of a way to obstruct these. Okay, what I can do is turn to face here, and that means he's forced to charge these veteran time foot. They'll engage because they'll pursue into the Indian close fighters. But it will force. It might mean that he can't exploit these Indian close fighters fragmenting when flank charged, and that might give me a chance. Before I do that, let's resolve the melee here. Okay. And it also means he now has to face down these Phoenician stealth foot with much weaker. This Indian elephant with a much weaker Phoenician stealth foot. I am sort of mentally preparing myself for a loss here. But it's not over yet. Especially after all this goes through. Because he's going to take all of this, and that's 3 different units going. These guys are going to go immediately. At least the warband ran away. We did hold farm. So no, the future does not look particularly bright for my Indians, and these light javelinmen have caught me after all. This is the thing, once the initial engagements are over, the light javelinmen have another chance to prove themselves because they can attack other units. And they'll probably get a few good licks in against these Indian cavalry, and he's engaged in here. I could try and pull back, but I'd rather let... Well, okay, you know what? I wish you could turn away. I wish it would be nice if you could actually tell your Indian cavalry to fall back. But they're not going to do that, not in the face of an enemy charge. They'd look at their commander like he was insane. Maybe it is worth moving these units away. If I could get these Indian cavalry over and into the backs of, say, this unit here. But it means basically abandoning my Indian elephants to these javelin men. And that's not really great. But then again, losing Indian cavalry to which are actually more mobile and available troops right now isn't exactly ideal either. And if I could get over here and help, then I could potentially unlock all of the units on this flank and they could come and help me. I think I have to move my cavalry. Strategic mobility is more important than sheer power here. Move here so I'm right away from the javelins. Sorry, elephants. You did extremely well, but I have to leave you now. Next turn. And I just realised that this Indian archer unit is actually, well, 1, it's going to break soon anyway, and 2, it's actually more than 2 tiles away from this spot. So I will move here instead and at least try to save my elephants. And also lessen the chance that these Indian light chariots will be panicked when they retreat. Next turn. Hope they stop pursuing soon. Sorry, elephants. Oh. Well, that's nice. They'll keep the skirmishers occupied for another turn. They are going to go right through, aren't they? And like the last pursuit, that was not a good direction for them to go. Amazingly, my archers held out. So thank you for that, folks. So they'll now engage my, close quarters troops. Let's see, can they give me a turn? It doesn't look like it. No, they break instantly, and that's bad. And it could get worse. My elephant held firm. That's important. This just means that my decision to engage here means I take an extra thumping. One thing I noticed about Nosy Rat is he's very good at working his way systematically across the map. I always get caught by his cavalry when they charge. That's going to be enough to cause a cohesion check. They held firm. Okay, my lucky elephants. Some people have lucky charms, I have lucky elephants. Trust me, they're much more useful. And my elephants rallied. I have really lucky elephants. And my... Oh, please, more of this. Alright. Right, a couple of things need to happen for me here. Do you see the problem? Once they run away diagonally, my elephants might not engage. Well, I'm going to try anyway, because I'm aiming for those veteran African spearmen. These are my backup target. They stopped. They went in. Are they going to break the veterans? They break the veterans. That was very unlucky for Nosy Rat. God. Unfortunately, they'll get... Right. Charge in here. And we're going to try and charge across the board. And I'm hoping that this route will carry me into the Phoenician style foot. Now the problem is these elephants are going to keep pursuing. Right, focus on the battle on this side of the board. Turn the chariots around. We need to focus on this side of the battle. I need to exploit this good luck, because otherwise it's going to be game over soon enough. We do not have enough of an advantage here, so I'm just going to engage and finish off these cavalry. They did Nosy Rat a service by holding on long enough. Hopefully they'll come back soon. But so this is what I've got left to finish off these troops in the centre before anything over here can get to us. But he's got plenty of skirmishers and he could still cause a fragmentation to this elephant. And there's a lot that could still go wrong. He could manage to maneuver to get the flank here. Because my troops are quite awkwardly assembled. But this is now dangerous for him. Let's see. I need to know how this goes first. Once again, no progress here. And we're probably going to lose here, which means our troops could fall back. I have nothing to block them in with. We're just going to have to see how it goes. Another lucky turn for us. These guys don't have much that's better to do, so I'm going to drive away his skirmish, our cavalry. And these units here are going to take time to set up for that flank attack, so I'm going to charge here. And try and drive off his javelinmen. Couldn't quite do it. I'm going to risk a disruption by an impact from these point-blank javelins, because it will let me get into the flanks here, and then I can possibly rampage into his Phoenician style foot and rescue the situation. This is going to be critical now. Okay. Those warbands will be upon us soon. And I don't have many troops left that I can afford to lose. This is going to come right down to the wire again. But in our matches it always does. Next turn. And that's my cavalry back in the fight. That's a perfect place for them to stop. But they would probably have just gone in, guided my cavalry into the enemy infantry anyway. Uh-oh. I think I forgot that they're... And they've held firm again. Well, we've got the chariots still. It depends whether or not you can fragment these elephants. What's going to happen? This does hopefully mean we'll get the flank attack here. Darn it. Well, even disrupted, those elephants are dangerous. Well, that means we get to the rough ground at least. Are they going to fragment? That's the beginning of the end for that flank, unless we can win very quickly now. Those Phoenician style foot have fought so bravely. And they are going to be the ones who win the battle for me. Well, that will help. Gives me a little bit of extra wriggle room. I've been very lucky with rallies. Right. Of course, that won't help me in the end if my army's in too much of a state to... They just won't give in. We finally get the fragmentation, but it's too late to stop my elephants from getting a flank attack. Because I can't stop that flank. Well, actually, yes I can. No, I can't. I can't stop them from going in. Yes, I can, sort of. Define stopping them. I needed those chariots to pursue them a decent distance. They didn't do their jobs. Because those, I was hoping I'd force those javelin far enough away, but it hasn't happened. Now they'll turn back. Those light cavalry will be upon us before I can get to that rough ground. Okay, another critical charge here. Curse these generaled up swordsmen! And now we'll get flanked. I think Nosy Rat has this by this section. Well, it depends. We'll get this unit and a disruption there, but he's going to take this side. Oh, this is very close. This is very close, and a handful of units are going to decide this here. It's these generaled up Phoenician style foot that have held the day. Once again, it's not the elite soldiers who have won this battle, it's just a few well-led, average quality soldiers who are hanging on for dear life. And I think they're going to be the ones who decide what happens here. Maybe this elephant unit can rally up before anything too dangerous can reach them. No, I need to be intelligent where I go here. And I'd rather his light horse hunted down these units rather than they survive and then they go off to hunt down my elephants before they can rally. Unless, what can I do? Because that warband unit will turn. I suppose it would at least drop. It depends whether or not I want to gamble that the unit will rally up by the time those light javelin horse reach them, or and whether that's worth forcing him to divert his warband here. I don't think it is, because that warband unit really isn't going to make a difference this battle. I don't think there's too many. He's already got so many units here, so I'd rather, I suppose, the horse archers go after me here. But they'll be cut down. It might also save my heavy chariots. Because you'll have to choose whether to go after my heavy chariots who might rally up, my elephants, or my Indian archers. It forces them into that kind of decision making. Such a shame we couldn't force these guys away. Maybe I should have charged this unit instead. Next turn. I think from the chat my elephants might have stood their ground in the face of the flank attacks. I wonder if this elephant unit is actually going to stand its ground. Well done. So there you go. Those Indian close fighters definitely deserve a promotion for that. There are a lot of units that wouldn't have stood their ground in that under those conditions. This is one of those combats that's just too close to call. It's whoever gets the 60% first. He's turned his warbands around, so it looks like he's going to go after this unit with his cavalry. Well, that spares my other units at least. Yeah, but they've got these veteran African spears to worry about. That unit's rallied. Maybe I can do something with that. I suppose my elephants want to rally up. That could not have been better timing. They're still disrupted though. I don't think he can stop that flank attack. Let's see. It would be better if I could set up to flank this unit. There are no safe options here. We'll take the charge. And then we will set up for the flank attack because he can't block it, he can't stop it from going through. Let's see now. What's better to hit? Probably better to hit from this angle. It depends what happens and what this elephant does next. Poor decision, folks. That could be the end of the battle right there. Okay. Well, at least I don't have anything to worry about here anymore except for this handful of units. Problem is he's got skirmishers on my back there. I'm going to have to move out. I need to engage this cavalry. Because those... Oh, I couldn't stop it anyway. So it depends whether I can keep this unit alive long enough to kill his two units here. Which seems like a long shot. But I'll do my best. Start to move these elephants up. Maybe, because he's gone after this, I can do something with this lot. But they need to rally. I think I need one more rally to win this battle. Oh right, and I've got these units as well. Well, this will help. This will help a lot in dealing with this final veteran African spear unit. Sorry, veteran Italian infantry unit. And if I can threaten, if I can at least harass his rear lines here, maybe I can get into this Italian foot unit or something. Block off these units before they can go after my elephants. Just do something to try to win this battle. Because I need 2 more routes and I don't see it coming from anywhere else but these 2 units here. Unless I get a rally, this is pretty much over. Oh, he's got this unit as well. I think he's won this. That unit goes, and that unit goes, and that unit goes, and it's over. But let's see what happens next time. Nosy Rat is complaining about me continuing to rally the elephants. I'm not rallying the elephants, the random number god is rallying the elephants. And we all suffer under that cruel god's machinations. There goes my army. 56. I was kind of hoping you wouldn't get that one. Oh, this is hopeless. I don't know, he's turned his back to me here. Unless he turns his veteran African spears around. So I could maybe get this unit, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Ah, clever use of turning to get the flank attack. That will help. Okay. The problem is these Carthaginians will probably rout in this direction or in this direction unless I can block them from doing that. So how I place my forces here will be extremely important. I want to force them to go that way. And then hopefully we can get our cavalry into the veteran and elephants into the veteran Italian foot. Which means oh, but they could still go that way. This is the best we can do. Fragmentation. Okay, massive attack. They went the right way. Ah, but this wrong order. Oh my goodness, could we actually draw or win this? Ah, the slingers stood their ground. We're so close. If literally anything else goes wrong for the Carthaginians, we've won. I think Nosy Rat has won this by the skin of his teeth. Because they'll fragment and then break next turn. And there's nothing else I can do. I don't have any other options. Because he's blocked my movement here. If only the elephant had gone square faster. Square sooner. And charging there suicidal. I may as well wait for the shock impact. Because, well, maybe this unit will break next turn. Maybe. But they're superior, so I somehow doubt it. Okay, next turn. I didn't even have to wait around for the light javelin horse to arrive. And they hold on. Oh, that was an intensely close battle, and I can tell you before we even start the analysis. It was decided by one moment, and honestly, although I feel I played well, I did lose the battle because I made a critical mistake at one point in the fight. I mean, don't hold the phone because we might get a rally. Wrong rally. There we go, folks. Very narrow margin, but today I failed to take my revenge against Hannibal. I failed to give the Indians revenge against Hannibal, and it happened over here, when I failed to flank and engage the units that were threatening my flank here. I think it was a unit of Satari or something. I didn't do it because I knew they'd lose the melee, and I thought I'd be able to move around, and I think it was to pin a flanking unit here. You need to remember that if you're on a diagonal to someone, it will restrict the way your troops can move. I was counting on being able to move this way. I couldn't do it in time, and that probably cost me the game right there. Because it came down to this kind of margin. If I'd been able to seize one more advantage, I would have won the battle. So it's again a case of planning out all of your moves. Check your units if they're close to other enemy units. Make sure that there isn't a zone of control that's holding them back from a critical maneuver that they need to do, and that's what I need to make sure that I do next time. In fights like this, I think both of us had good macro level strategies. Nosy Rat did his best to hold back my ferocious elephant charge. I managed to avoid his units, but he did at least have them present. And he broke through in the centre very decisively. Very good use of his skirmishers and his he made very good use of skirmishers and his light cavalry to trip me up and cause disruptions, and then those skirmishers kept the pressure on when my army was crumbling over here. I'm just trying to think. But I was able to avoid him over here. I think he was maybe a little bit slow to capitalise on the skirmishers over here. He kind of split them off from the rest of his army, and that allowed my chariots and cavalry to sort of isolate them, and while the elephants went through, and the chariots and cavalry caused quite a bit of damage to them as well. But he managed to keep them alive, and they came back to the fight, and they were the bane of my elephants all the way through the fight. But the beating they took over here may have been one of the reasons why he couldn't finish off these elephants here. If he'd kept them closer to his forces and supported them a little bit better, I think that might have been a better use of them. But I mean, we know what my fatal mistake here was. And talking about the general strategy itself, my idea of using the elephants to break through, it almost worked. It wasn't as effective as I'd hoped against the warbands, but that was made up for by the fact that we managed to... Oh, but then I think the veteran Italian foot rallied up, didn't they? So yes, unfortunately the elephant charge on this flank didn't quite go my way. The elephants were more decisive over here though. I forget exactly what happened over here, but we did manage to get mostly a decisive victory over here. But that was then undermined by the fact that reinforcements arrived from the centre and just smashed us to pieces. The Spanish and African forces held out here for a very long time, and that caused me problems as my centre crumbled very quickly. But that's to be expected, of course. Nosy Rat made very good use of his generals to keep key units in the fight, and there was no way I could keep my bows in the fight. If I could have drawn back and avoided conflict here, maybe even instead of shooting, I had just turned my back and fled, that might have kept my centre in the fight for a bit longer, and I might have been able to stave off defeat. But he pressed me very hard here, and although I lost, again, I'm just a little bit disappointed with myself that I allowed this to happen, because I could have won the battle had I not made that small mistake, just a small error in reading the battlefield. And that's what cost me the victory today. So I think I've proven it can be done. The Indians can beat the Carthaginian army in the field. I just didn't manage it this time. Anyway, folks, I've been Napoleon Complex. Thanks again to my opponent, Nosy Rat, for making this video possible. Please consider liking and subscribing if you enjoy the video, and I will see you next time. Farewell. And the end screen, just in case you missed it. Things were very lopsided casualty-wise, despite the close nature of the fighting. Remember, so casualties were... kills were reasonably even on both sides, but remember, my army was much smaller, and that ended up making all of the difference in the end, the percentages. And of course, we have suffered from more desertions as well.